Christo, welcome to Britain's Hidden History. And for this one, I really have to thank the History of Wales group on Facebook. I don't know the name of the person who posts on there, but fantastic lot of information. And what we're going to look at in particular is someone who I'd forgotten about. I have come across him before, and that is Sir William Jones. And this is the writing from the group, by the way, philologist of Welsh parentage, the study of languages, who is credited with discovering the connection amongst the Indo-European group of languages. His father, also William Jones, was the mathematician credited with introducing the use of the symbol pi. So I'm going to put on the Welsh Stories group. Right, over his lifetime, Jones learned 28 languages, including Greek, Latin, Arabic, Hebrew, Chinese, Persian. And when in India, he learned lots of Indian languages. He noticed the similarities between them. And he came up with this theory that is an unknown ancestral language when must have given the root of all these languages. And this is so important because this ties in with the migrations. How do the languages move? How do you have a language in Wales that comes from the Middle East? Because their origins is probably Assyria or Syria or somewhere in, southern, Western Asia, if there's such a term. So this is the kind of table he came up with, which again, we'd change this. But what is good to see on this chart is what they call Celtic, grown, because this was the term that was coming in those times. It was an invention partly from Edward Lloyd's research into language connections. There are no Celts in Britain or Ireland, in the south of France, but we know what he means when he says Celtic languages, because here they are all listed for us. Now, the key thing here with the Gaelic languages, Breton, Welsh, Cornish, these three the closest related, okay? And they do not come via Latin or something like that. They're not derived from Latin or any other language. They have their own direct link with the ancient one. And what I don't think Jones moved on to show more about is, which is strange because that list of 28 languages, I'm sure Welsh must have been on there somewhere. I mean, he did have Welsh parents. It seems strange he didn't speak Welsh. I'm sure he did. But anyway, so when you say Celtic, it could be code for Cymraeg, because you would know that if you mention the Welsh language, you can't get published or recognised. Because with Wales being where it is on the edge of Europe and never really having been invaded or the language being changed, it's what Alan Wilson calls a living fossil of the ancient language. It's the closest, it's the least changed from the original, which is why we can go back and use Welsh to read Etruscan, Phrygian, and as you know from my book, from Wilson and Blackett's work, ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, is because you can trace it back this way. Now, the curious thing that was pointed out in the person who copied over to Britain's Hidden History was if you look at where the language is, we got this all fits in with the migrations. We got the roots here, and then the language comes across. These are all the language influenced. But if you then dug further into it, you'll find that the closest linked languages, these British languages here, the Welsh, the Cornish, the Manx, link most closely with what you find over here, which ties in with the links. I mean, there's this area, this area, southern Anatolia, where ancient Troy was supposed to be. Crimea is said to be, by authors such as E.O. Gordon, that this is Crimea itself is a corruption of the word Cymru. Cymria becomes Crimea over time. Now, I just want to do a quick thing on what good old Wikipedia says about this. I just click my buttons around. Here we go. So you can see early life. He's from Anglesey in Wales. There you go. His father introduced pi. He was Welsh. He was a linguistic prodigy. He's a brilliant language person. He could speak all these languages by the time he was like 8 or something. I don't know. He's mad. And then his other languages. Now, what also happened, because he went to India, he had a posting in India, which is really important, because as it says here, European visitors to India became aware of similarities between Indian and European languages. So how could that be? Did Indians come to Britain or Britons to India? Well, let's look. And as early as 1653, the Dutch scholar Marcus Zurius van Boxhorn had published a proposal for a proto-language. He called it Scythian, which is the Germanic Romance, Greek, Baltic, Slavic, Celtic, and Iranian languages. So this stuff is not new by Wilson and Blackett. It's not like they just pulled it out of their butts in the 1980s. It goes back to the 1650s, this line of research. It was huge in the 19th century, right up until the point where an academic group or committee was put together from scholars of Oxford and Cambridge to really look into this and how Cymraeg, the Welsh language, could be used to read Egyptian hieroglyphs. Because the rest of Europe was already talking about it. It was big news. And the can got kicked along the road until 1914, when, of course, the catastrophe of World War I came along and it got quietly forgotten. But this stuff never really went away, just got forgotten in World War I, just never happened again, which is why we're bringing it back up. It's never been disproved or shown wrong. Now, there was something interesting here. Now, what he did have, where he was controversial, and this is why, for political reasons, why this can't be discussed today. He proposed the concept of an Aryan invasion, white people going into the Indian subcontinent and bringing language and writing and things like that with them. It's a very popular subject for a while, but of course it's just politically unacceptable. So you can't really go with that. So there you go. It's a bigger subject to look into, but bear this in mind. It's not a new fad. It's been around a long time, this tracing of the language connections. And as Michelle Evans on her Popty Ping channel pointed out to me, Buddha, for example, Bwydda in Welsh is the good life. Bwydda. Perfect. That's the name for the Buddha. So what's the Buddha Welsh? Being a bit flippant there, but till the next time, anyway, hope you get you thinking and realising this is not just something that's popped up from nowhere. It's not revisionist. It's the old history we're exploring. Okay, so till the next time, peace in Welsh. Heddwch.